Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to take a look at a brand new Nanmu release, and this is definitely a very much so anticipated Nanmu release as we finally have the Raptor Squad here upon us. And this is actually the Diana version. You can see down here in the corner has the title of which version this is. Again, there are 4 different versions, which just kind of takes each raptor and almost plays musical chairs with them, just kind of switches the paint schemes around for each different sculpt. So you can pretty much have any raptor that you want in any paint scheme and any sculpt at some point with depending on whatever version you want. Again, this version here is Diana, and I'm really psyched to get these out as I've been quite hyped for these figures for some time. And you can see that the box art is pretty much your typical Nanmu box art, but looks really good. Beautiful images of the Raptor Squad here on the front, and then of course here on the side we do see Diana yet again. And then on the back, pretty much again just your standard Nanmu box with some information and all of that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and actually break these out. This time we'll open them right here on screen because it's actually pretty small, so we can do that. Of course, we pull out the little slip there, that little kind of art card that comes with these, and then we pull out the raptors themselves. So looking at the art card, I really love these all the time. Every single time I can get one of these art cards and take a look at the really cool hand-drawn images here on the back, I am 100% in love each and every time. Love these art cards. Again, they just are so cool. I want to just sort of put all of these up on my wall and just like probably this side because I really like these kind of drawn images. But again, here on the opposing side, we have a beautiful image of the Raptor Squad kind of loose off in the wilderness, and it is expertly drawn, beautifully colored, and as per usual when it comes to Nanmu, an absolutely gorgeous image of the figures that are included here in this set. So, again, another really awesome addition to these Nanmu figures as always. And then inside of here, we have the raptors themselves, which you can see right here, as well as, I believe, Roland over here. I'm pretty sure that's who that is. That's who it looks like to me. So we take this first slip off here, and then we start pulling out our Velociraptors and taking a quick look at them. We have, again, the entire Raptor Squad. So I had to take them out of frame and just kind of pop them out a little bit there so that they're not kind of damaged or anything as I pull them out. But there are each of our Velociraptors, and then on the underside of the packaging, and of course our Roland figure, but there is also a layer that then includes the bases for each figure, as well as the little poles that will attach to your raptors to have them stand on the bases. So here are our raptors put onto the different bases, and I actually have the bases kind of different than what you see in the original promotional images because the bases are sort of, I guess, pretty much whatever raptor you want to put on whatever base is up to you, because there doesn't seem to be any specific way to apply either of the raptors to the bases. It's just kind of however you want to put each raptor, and I actually thought that these kind of looked the best, so this is the way that I went with on each of the raptors. But again, super happy that these are finally here, and I'm really psyched to take a closer look at them with you guys, so let's go ahead and do that right now. Now I currently actually have the peg here in the underside of the Velociraptor. I think I'm just going to leave that there just because it's easier than taking it back out and then finding that little hole, putting it back in. But regardless, this figure here we are going to start with. This appears to me to be Charlie, and you can see that as far as the sculpt and detail goes, this raptor is off the charts. Beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And again, the figures are incredibly small. So if you take a look at this figure, I'm trying to get, there we go, we try to focus on that head sculpt. You can see that the detailing on such an insanely small head sculpt is just absolutely magnificent. I love the fact that they've kind of darkened the area inside the mouth to really elaborate the mouth of the raptor. The eyes are painted beautifully. You can see a really nice slit-like pupil there for the eye. You can even take note to the nostrils there at the tip of the snout. Again, insanely nicely done sculpt and detail on something that is this small. That is super impressive if you ask me. Moving down into the neck, you can see lots of wrinkles, lots of creasing in the skin, along with really nice coloration on the figure. Again, I think it's very reminiscent to the way Charlie appeared in the film, and definitely really nicely done overall as far as the actual paintwork on the raptor goes. Moving down into the actual body, you can see some nice musculature in the arms. The nails are also painted, which you can see right there. Beautiful arm sculpts and hand sculpts, but the nails being painted is a really nice touch. You can also see the nails painted here on the feet. which look really good. Even the sickle claw is extended over here, which I really actually quite like the poses on each of these raptors. Beautiful detailing in the stomach region, really nice skin texture, very nice stripes that run along the entire animal, beautifully applied. They look nice and natural as well. Really nice muscle tone there in the thigh and calf region. As we move down into the foot sculpt looks beautiful. Really nice paintwork again on those feet. For the feet being so small, that's very impressive. There's even a gloss coat there on the nails as well. Looks really good. And then moving out the length of the tail, again, the paintwork looks really good. You can see a really nice green and very nice smooth transition to the lighter underside there. Really nice detailing the entire length of the tail all the way out to that really beautiful tip to the tail. And again, same deal over here as far as the sculpt and paint. You can see the eyes again really nicely painted on this side. It appears as though there's like a wash or something applied to the face. You can see like some very nice color variation to the figure. Again, beautiful wrinkles down into the neck. Really nice musculature displayed all over the side of this animal in the arm and leg area. Really beautifully displaying the kind of reacting to the leg here. The leg pushing up into the body, kind of bunching up the musculature there, and that's really nicely portrayed in the sculpt as well. And then again, moving back out the length of the tail. Looks really, really nice. An absolutely beautiful raptor sculpt here on the part of Nanmu. Love that figure. And then moving on to the next one. This one I believe would be Echo. And you could see again, as far as the actual paintwork goes, it's pretty darn nice. I will say it doesn't look exactly like Echo did in the film, but still very appealing looking regardless, and sculpt wise it is phenomenal. Look at the really nice skin detail right here, as far as like the skin stretching off of the leg because the leg is pushed out so far. This one is clearly in a jumping attack type of a positioning, and I love the way even like the feet and the way that they're positioned, the toes are positioned and everything just looks super nice and really natural. And again, the sickle claw is extended over here. You can see the nails are painted nicely. All of the paint seems to be applied in very nice and realistic fashion on something that is this small. The paint application is actually quite impressive. You can see the arms are up in the air as the raptor is coming down to take a bite out of whatever it is that it is after. Again, lots of really nice skin detail over here with the leg pulling forward, stretching that skin quite nicely, and all the skin and movement seems to be shown throughout the sculpt in beautiful fashion. Very nicely done on the part of Nanmu. Really nice detailing up here in the neck again. The eyes appear to be painted beautifully, and no sloppiness again on something this small. That's really impressive. However, one area that I think a lot of people have been complaining about, and I can definitely see what they're saying, would be the mouth and kind of the inconsistency of the teeth. If we kind of get this to focus a little bit better here, you can see that the teeth are kind of a little hit or miss as far as the way that they're painted. However, I saw a lot of people kind of outraged by this online. I don't think it's as big of a deal as everyone's making it out to be, because I'm actually going to touch mine up before the end of the video is over and show you guys what they would look like with their teeth just a little bit better painted. And I'll take a few images, put it at the end of the video, because it's such a simple fix to fix that. You just have to take a toothpick and then just take some paint and just simply touch up each tooth where maybe there's a tooth missing, because that's kind of what it appears. It almost looks like some teeth were knocked out of the mouth of the Velociraptor, and that's sort of the way that the inside of the mouth appears. I can notice a really nice gloss coat, though, inside the mouth. I can definitely say that. But a lot of people were kind of shunning these figures when they had seen them online just simply due to the missing paint in the mouth. And although I will say that is definitely upsetting that the mouth looks that way, I feel like, again, it's not like it's a horrible defect in the sculpt or a really awful looking paint scheme or anything, because I feel like for the most part the paint actually looks really good. And again, considering the size of the figure, like look at the head fits within my pointer finger, and that is really tiny. So the paint application, I think, is overall very impressive for the size of the figure. And again, that is definitely something that I feel like could be really easily fixed. So I will have to show you guys, again, my fix at the end of the video. But really nice looking paint job. Again, the tones of color I feel like are not perfect for this one, but still really quite nice for the most part. And the sculpt is phenomenal. Really beautiful looking sculpt for sure. And then moving on to Velociraptor Blue. Again, we have another open mouth version, so we can look at the teeth if we could focus here on it. But my camera really hates focusing on something so small. But you can see, again, the teeth are similar to the other one where they're kind of like hit or miss, where some areas sort of are missing teeth and it almost looks like he's mostly gums. You can see it a lot better, I think, on this side. But once again, such an easy fix. I really feel like that will not be an issue at all, and something that should not take much skill or anything to pull off fixing. But again, the sculpt is beautiful, really does genuinely look like Velociraptor Blue, and the paint application as well looks really, really good. I love that the tongue is sticking up there out of the mouth, and you can see that the coloration and everything for the inside of the mouth all looks really good as well. And actually, looking at it here from the front view, you can actually see that the teeth don't really appear, especially on the lower jaw. I feel like they don't look that bad. You can see they look fairly consistent for the most part. I think maybe some of the problem is just like the placement of the teeth could have been a little better as far as the way they painted that, but we'll touch it up anyway and see what it looks like. But you can see really nice creasing again as we move back here into the neck. The eyes, actually before we leave that area, the eyes look really good as far as the paintwork once again up there. Beautiful detailing the entire way through the body of this raptor as well. Once again, Nanmu captures every area of detail that you would expect to find as far as like skin movement and skin reacting and everything all over the figure. And for the size, I feel like the paint application is really well done. It looks pretty much just like Velociraptor Blue did in very, very small miniature form here as far as the paintwork goes. Really beautiful sculpt. Each and every one of these I feel like are sculpted so nicely. Very impressive as far as the sculpt on each goes, but again, the paintwork as well looks really good. You can see the spinal column of blue as we move back here into the tail area. You can see the tail does have a nice curve to it. It's nothing overly bent or anything that I could not possibly see a dinosaur pulling off. Really nice musculature again in both the arm and the legs. The legs specifically have really beautiful musculature shown in each one of the sculpts so far. You can see the feet look great. Very nicely painted nails on both the hands and the feet. Once again, even the detailing on the underside looks really, really good. So I'm not going to try to take too long on each one of the figures because the review will just go on forever. But then that leaves us with the final raptor, which would be Delta, I believe. And you can again see how nice the sculpt is. I really actually quite like these raptors that have their mouths closed just because they look so nice and at ease. They don't look like they're overly angry or anything like that, even though the raptors are pretty vicious and ferocious in the films usually. I just really like the peaceful look of these kind of closed mouth raptors. But again, sculpt wise, it looks pretty much just like the others did as far as the sculpt goes. Beautiful work on the part of Nanmu. Really nice detailing up here on the head sculpt of this one as well. You can even see like some osteoderms and everything on the lower jaw. Very nicely defined the inside of the mouth with a darker coloration. And once again, the eyes are very impressively well painted for being so incredibly small. Beautiful skin detail, again, skin stretching off of the leg. Really nice movement shown within the body as far as the arms kind of pushing into the body, bunching some of the skin up. I love that the arms are in a really nice, what I would feel would be a pretty natural position for the dinosaur as well. Nicely displayed musculature once again. You can see the spinal column and a really nice curve once again to the tail. Nothing that I feel like is too overly dramatic. Really beautiful foot sculpts and hand sculpts. Nicely painted nails. Again, it's impressive how nicely painted the nails are on the figure for how insanely small the figure is, and how nicely done the actual paint application is as well. I actually feel like in person they're much better than all of the images that I had seen online. Really impressive. And again, a lot of people I feel like are kind of judging these figures based on really up close images of them. And again, these figures are super small. Look at how small that is. That very easily fits in my hand with no issues. If I could actually turn it a little bit, there you go. You can see that fits in my hand so easily. So this raptor is incredibly small. For the amount of paint application that you have included in this, how well done it is overall, it is insanely impressive on the part of Nanmu. But a really nice raptor yet again. And then base-wise, you can see this is the base that I was using for Delta, and you can see that it looks really nice as far as like it's just kind of a rocky area. Very nicely painted, has like a few different tones of color included, some nice browns and darker coloration. Very realistic looking, very nicely done. You actually have the logo here on the underside there. And then for the next one, I believe I had blue on this one. Similar appearance to the previous base, where it kind of has like a rocky appearance, but it also looks really nicely done as far as the sculpt and paint application. Very realistic, the way they painted them with nice tones of color. So I actually love the fact that they're including bases with some of their figures from time to time. Really creates a beautiful looking diorama, I feel. And this one looks really, really cool. It almost looks like a kind of like a downed log that maybe the raptor was running along. Very beautifully sculpted, very beautifully painted. pretty much the theme of the bases, I would say. So again, another really cool base, and even the bases are super, super small. And then the final base, which would be the biggest of the bunch, has kind of like a big tree stump, it looks like, and then another tree or a log that's downed over top of it. And it looks really cool, kind of gives you the feeling that these raptors are running through the jungle somewhere. And again, really excellent looking sculpt and paint on each of the bases. Really nice with many different tones of color and just a ton of detail included as well. So yet another really cool looking base, another really cool looking Nanmu release. And then of course we have the Roland figure, which I feel like it's just always so bright the way my light shines off of these human figures from the Nanmu sets. It's really hard to see them, and I say this every single Nanmu review, but one of these days I really am going to paint these figures so we can get a much better idea of how nice they look. But how insanely awesome is it to have a figure of Roland from the Lost World Jurassic Park, and he appears to be beautifully sculpted, and again, with some nice paint application on this. This could be potentially a dream come true for most of us Jurassic collectors that don't have an opportunity normally to own one of the characters from the Lost World like this, one of the kind of lesser loved characters, I would say, from most companies that make figures for the Jurassic Park or Jurassic World line. Something that I, again, absolutely love about Nanmu is the fact that they pretty much create every character, so now I'm just waiting for a Lex and a Tim at some point. But as far as a size goes on these figures, again, I've stated numerous times they are incredibly small. For a length on this raptor, you're looking at about 3.5 inches or around the 9 centimeter range. And I'm thinking they're probably all going to be of similar size. This one's actually close to 4 inches, I would say, or 10 centimeters. It just depends probably on the way the positioning of the body is. With this one's tail kind of bent this way toward us, it shortens the overall length. Of course, with Charlie over there, he's really spread out as far as the positioning of the body goes. And I actually think putting them back onto the bases, I may have switched them around again a little bit compared to the way I had them before, but again, the sizes are pretty much different, I think, with each one, but very similar. Again, actually, you can see this one's more like 3.75 inches, or about 9.5 centimeters. And then Blue is kind of buried in here, so let's gently move you guys out of the way here and bring Blue out and put Blue sideways here. So for Blue's length, you're looking at about 3.75 inches, or about 9.5 centimeters. Somewhere in that range. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon next to our really nice looking and very small Velociraptor Squad from Nanmu. And now, having a look at these figures next to, of course, the Paporex, the Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon, hopefully you'll have a whole new respect for these figures again due to their smaller size. They are insanely well done, and hopefully have a very good idea of just how small these raptors are. And then we have Fallen Kingdom occurring right here in front of us when it comes to Velociraptor Blue battling the Indoraptor. So if you happen to have the Nanmu Indoraptor, this should give you a pretty good idea as well of what the size of the figures here are. I'm not going to do too many size comparisons as I don't want this review to go too long, but it's probably already gone pretty long the way it is when it comes to reviewing 4 different figures. But again, this is the size comparison next to the Indoraptor. If you would like to see any other size comparisons, potentially I could pull them off by adding them to the community section of this channel or Instagram or something like that, assuming my horrible memory does not fail me as usual and pretty much make me forget whatever comparisons I continuously agree to do with people. And I do apologize if anyone has asked me to do comparisons in the past and I have forgotten, because I do tend to do that from time to time. But again, if there are other size comparisons you would like to see these with, let me know and I will do my best to post each one. So this Velociraptor Squad from Nanmu is definitely a really welcome and a really cool release from Nanmu. One thing I am super excited about straight away, not only the fact that we have a Roland figure, but also the fact that we have bases with the Raptor Squad. I really like that, and I think the fact that these are in pretty dynamic positions for the most part, it would have been pretty hard to have these standing fine and perfectly without bases. So straight away we needed bases to provide us with these really cool dynamic poses that we do have on the Raptors. So I think the base idea was definitely a good one on the part of Nanmu, and overall I actually like that better because it really completes a really cool looking diorama with each raptor kind of giving it like a visual of it running through the jungle or leaping off of a log or something along those lines. It really looks very cool overall. And each of the bases I feel like are sculpted and painted beautifully, really well done bases, and I'm really excited to see more Nanmu releases in the future that will include bases. Definitely something I'm pretty darn psyched about. But the Raptors themselves are also beautiful. Sculpt-wise, they are incredibly well done, especially for the amount of detail packed into such a small size. Again, impressive is a very good way to put it, but I feel like it really doesn't do it justice because sculpt-wise, they are phenomenal. They are just absolutely loaded with detail, and each one, again, includes a different position than the others, so that's also a really cool aspect to the figures. It would have been kind of boring if they would have just created the exact same figure repeatedly just standing there, so they didn't need a base, and then gave them all different paint schemes. I feel like it looks way better with this, kind of having so many different variations to the poses, and each one having a different positioning to the body really does create a really cool diorama as well. And you can use these raptors in so many different scenes that you could create with these and many other of the Nanmu figures that have been released previously. The actual paint applications of the figures as well, for the most part, is really nicely done, and I definitely love each and every one of these figures overall as far as the paint goes. I feel like as far as the actual paint schemes go, they all pretty much look just like the Raptors did in the film. The furthest from film accurate, I believe, would be Echo, but still really nice looking regardless, and I definitely am a huge fan of each of them as far as the paint application goes, and they have done a great job of really capturing small areas of the figures and applying the paint in really nice fashion, like the nails and the eyes. Very small areas that I feel like would be very easy to mess up, but they're really nicely done. The only area of any of the Raptors, and it's only on two that have their mouths open, that are a little sloppy would be the inside of the mouth. And I will say the inside of the mouth is a pretty important area when it comes to a Velociraptor, so it is a little upsetting that they did kind of mess those areas up, botch them a little bit as far as the paint application goes, and kind of give them like a missing tooth-like look at certain spots if you look at them. But again, as I stated earlier, I feel like it's not that much of an issue because it's a very easy fix if you have a toothpick and you get some white paint or even like an off-white paint, maybe even a glossy type of an off-white paint. I'm probably going to use like a vanilla ice cream, some sort of like an off-white type of a coloration that I normally use for the teeth on my models, and just kind of touch those little areas up a little bit. And actually, if you would like to see that, here you go right now. Here are the touched up versions of the Raptors. And again, I feel like it looks a little bit better when it comes to the teeth being painted out a little better, but it's still not that big of a deal with them painted the other way because they're so insanely small. Unless you're going to be sticking your face right up to them consistently, the fact that they're so small means you're probably not really going to notice it all that much. And again, I absolutely love each one of these figures. The Roland figure is awesome, really beautifully sculpted. The Velociraptor Squad also is awesome and definitely a beautiful sculpt and actually really nice paint jobs if you ask me. So if you would like to pick these up, I will include a link in the description to where you can do just that on Dan's Dinosaurs. A very high recommendation from me if you are a fan of the Raptor Squad. I absolutely love each of these figures, and I anxiously await the next Nanmu release. Again, I'm absolutely loving every release from Nanmu so far, and this Raptor Squad is no different. So make sure you check the description, go order these Raptor figures from Dan's Dinosaurs, and make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.